Hi, everybody. Welcome into the broadcast. It's Tuesday evening, not Sunday evening. Yes, you are not deceiving yourself. We didn't switch the days back either. But anyway, we're going to do a special broadcast tonight. I want to get out ahead of this. We've got snow chances coming our way. Ooh, it's November, right? Big deal. But is it a big deal? That's what I want to kind of level set with everyone. We've got the latest model runs kind of in tonight. We're starting to get a good idea of how this system's going to behave, but there's still a lot of questions around it. So we're going to talk about what those questions are. We're going to kind of put some of the social media activity that's going around out there. That's just click here. Snowmageddon's coming our way. This is not Snowmageddon, okay? Kind of a joke in the headline. The cat decided to start playing with the cat toy. Do you think this is a good idea right next to the broadcast desk? Hey, buddy, I know you really want to play with that, but probably not now. Now's not a good time there, little buddy. Anyway, plus we've got our kids upstairs, obviously. And those of you that know, we had our fifth child, and it's just a lot. It's a lot, right? Because our newborn, no, you can't play with that. Our newborn is obviously he can't do much, right? And Mama needs to hold him all the time. So I just heard her say, "Get off the tree," and I don't know who she's talking to. So can you stop playing with that right now? All right. It looks like a fun toy. All right, let's dive into the broadcast. I don't want to waste your time. Let's say hi to our early birds here. What we're going to talk about is the snow that's on the way, all right? We are in line for some snow. We'll chat about how bad it's going to be. All right, Rhonda, hello. You were our early bird tonight. Thanks for being with us. Jeff, good evening to you. Linda, thanks for taking time out of your schedule to join us. I appreciate it. Angel, thanks for joining us as well. Good to have you. Rhonda says no snow. Don from Mayberry says, good evening, let it snow. So he wants snow. Look at this cat. Look at this guy. Oh, this is Pippi. Hey, Pippi. Pip, so we talked about this before. Pip is a rescue, and man, he's just the sweetest cat. You can hold him. He just falls asleep in your arms. He wants this toy, though. Buddy, I can't give that to you. It makes a lot of noise. Here, go play with that over there. All right, you might hear a little cat toy in the background. My goodness, can't do anything around here. Okay, we've got some other folks with us as well. Let me just get to the broadcast. Thank you guys for joining us. All right, you're in the middle of dinner. I get it. Okay, here's what we're dealing with, all right? And I want to level set with everyone on this snow, all right? Our average first snow is mid-November around here, early to mid-November. This snow is going to be right on cue, okay? There's nothing abnormal about that. It's not apocalyptic in that regard. And we're not expecting a big snowstorm out of this, okay? This is going to be a quick hit. And then temperatures are going to warm up after that, all right? So we've got all those things going for us. But let's talk about where this system is, first of all. This system is way out in the Pacific Ocean. And so you would think it's not this one here that's on the West Coast. Here's the West Coast, Pacific Ocean, right? Lots of storm systems, just a mess out there. I can't imagine being someone in the shipping industry. But either way, this storm system is the one that you think it would be. It's not. There's actually a low pressure heading up towards the Gulf of Alaska. Here's Alaska up here. And there's kind of this system right here will merge into a secondary low that will follow this first one. So all that being said, that doesn't matter. What does matter is this system is way out over the Pacific still. So on land, we have a lot of sensors that gather data, right, that give us data that feeds into models. And so once the system hits the West Coast, we tend to get a better read of how it's going to behave, right? When a system's out over the ocean, there's not a lot of data coming in terms of sensor data, in terms of what the atmosphere is doing, what that storm system's doing. We rely a lot on satellite, okay? And so that being said, the models have gotten a lot better, and they can predict things that are out over the ocean just fine, but we've still got some time on this, okay? That's what I want to say. So if you're seeing a lot of posts, and again, they may show up in my feed more than yours because I'm a meteorologist, but if you're seeing a lot of posts from all these basement meteorologists showing snowfall totals, showing what's going to happen with the snow, just forget it, okay? Just know there's some snowflakes on the way, but none of this is true at this point. None of it is. No one knows how much it's going to snow. So that being said, let's tell you how much it's going to snow. Just kidding. We're not going to do that. Here's how the system evolves, okay? We're going to start you big picture, all right? Big system out towards the West Coast. That's the one heading in now. Here's the system that we'll be watching. And watch how these two interact, all right? This is Thursday into Friday into Saturday into Sunday, okay? Follow this low right here. See this one right here? We're going to go back in time. There you go. Gulf of Alaska kind of curls around and kind of spits in here, almost like a clipper system would in the middle of winter time. Okay, it kind of screams in here, not a ton of moisture with it, but enough of a wind shift and a cold air mass behind it that it causes problems. But the thing that's different about this one is that we've got real cold air sitting in northern Canada right now, And basically, I mentioned on Sunday during the Region Weather Live, the highs and lows are a pulley system, okay? They're pulling cold air south, they're pushing warm air north. It's all on a pulley system. And so we have kind of the double whammy going on where we get this low pressure that goes through Friday into Saturday. And when that moves through, it takes some of this cold air. See all these blues in the snow, et cetera. You don't need to know what all that means. You just need to know that's cold air. It takes that cold air with that first system on Friday, and it drags it into the northern U.S. So here it is. Well, normally high pressure would come in, and we'd warm up after that, and we would deal with cold air for a day or two, and it'd head back. But the secondary low is the game changer because this comes in, taps into already cold air, and it pulls it even further south. And this giant trough develops across the eastern U.S. so that because of this low and the high pressure behind it, this big shot of cold air gets dragged even further south. Remember, it's a pulley system. So first low pressure pulls the cold air in. Next low pressure right on the heels of that, which isn't really typical. Typically, we get a high behind that. That second low pressure pulls it even further south, okay? That's why we're going to have this huge air mass that is of very cold origins, way from up in the Arctic Circle, northern Canada. That's going to come in, and that's where our snow chance comes from. Okay, so that's the setup. All right, let's get into a little bit more specifically what we're talking about. And I'm going to take you through the various models. Here's, again, just kind of a closer look of how the Euro develops that. Again, quiet weather. We've got a bit of a breezy day tomorrow with this low that'll miss us. All right, not expecting any rain out of that. But then we have our next shot at rain on Friday. Okay, and this arrives early Friday. I'm thinking most of this is out of here by afternoon. All right, we'll get some rain and some wind, and temperatures will be warm out ahead of that. But then the cool air starts to settle in behind it. Not too big of a deal. Perhaps a lake shower or two on Saturday. Doesn't look to be a big deal, though. But by Saturday night into Sunday, that's when this low comes in. It's not doing much yet. It'll have some rain with it. It'll have a little wind with it as well, but it won't be too big of a deal as it moves through. But it's Sunday into Monday. Once this thing gets going and wrapping up and this high pressure really strengthens to the north, that's when this system goes by. It'll be quiet for a little while, and then the Great Lakes are going to go nuts as this cold air spills across our still warm lake waters. All right, and that's when lake effect snow kicks in. More likely Sunday evening is when I'm thinking, right during our Region Weather Live. That'll be exciting, right? And then it really gets going Monday into Tuesday, and then it's out of here, and we're warm again, all right? And by warm, I mean like 40s, 50s, maybe touching 60 in the extended. We'll see. But either way, it's a very quick hit, okay? It's not a snowstorm where we've got this widespread 50-mile stretch of snow that's going to blanket down. This is going to be mainly lake effect snow that we're dealing with, okay? So let's take you through the models. Here's what we have now. There's your rain on Friday, scattered showers of the lake effect variety on Saturday, and then Sunday, there's that low. What the Euro does is the Euro brings, oh boy, I've got my, hi buddy, got my 2-year-old down here. I think mom is giving someone a bath. This is our house, everybody, all right? Go to another meteorologist if you want a clean show, okay? But, here's what happens with a household of 5 kiddos. Hi, buddy. He's on his swing. We talked about his swing on Sunday. It's so cute. I should have like a Silas cam in the background. His name's Silas. I should have a little cam in the background. You swinging? You're doing great. Yeah. All right. So the Euro is, as of right now, looking to be the snowiest of models. And here's why. All right. It dives that trough further south. Okay. So it brings that cold air in. And what it does, and this is good news if you're a snow lover, which some of us are this time of year. It's okay. It's festive. If you're a snow lover in areas like Lake County, which typically we don't see a lot of lake effect. Normally it's Porter and LaPorte, right? This Euro solution brings the low through. It brings the high closer to us, off towards the west. And what it does is it brings more of a northerly wind, right? North wind, with this kind of atmosphere we have it coming in with really cold air aloft, would have some kind of big band of snow that develops coming off of Lake Superior. That moisture would travel across Lake Michigan, and it would travel the length of Lake Michigan. So the latest Euro run would produce some really good snow across all of Northwest Indiana. Lake Porter, LaPorte County, even Newton, Jasper, Stark, you could get into the action. And you can see what it's picking up on Sunday night. Pretty decent band of snow piling right into Northwest Indiana. Widespread, right? Then the wind turns more northwesterly. It heads on out. We would still, this time of year, with temperatures in the 30s, we would still get, it's okay, but we would still get rain along the lake shore, all right, because lake water still sit in 40s, 50s, so we would still get rain right along the immediate lake shore to return to snow inland. But this would head out towards the east during the course of the day, Tuesday, okay? So it would be more of a deal Sunday night into Monday morning, all right, before we start to mix with and it heads on out. All right, so that's the euro. Okay, here's still the discrepancy. All these little L's are all the deterministic models, and or I mean all the ensembles, and it shows where the low pressure centers are. Buddy, not now. No, not now. Shh. Can you be kind of quiet? Thank you. Where's Mama when you need her? These low pressure centers obviously show where the different lows are, and it doesn't decide where that low is yet. Okay, so there's still some discrepancy on where this low goes, and that plays a big role on it. But it's becoming a little bit more clear on where it's going to go. Let me show you the GFS because the GFS is a little bit different this evening. This has been picking up on more snow from the actual low pressure that goes through, and it has more of a system snow around. So this brings accumulating snow through here like Saturday night, Sunday. I'm not buying this right now. I don't like the GFS. I never have liked the GFS the last 2 or 3 years. It may end up being true, but this would bring snow in here earlier with some lake effect, but not much happening on the backside. And the reason why is because the GFS doesn't develop this trough as much. It doesn't dig it south, which would bring lake effect across the lakes. It makes things and keeps it more progressive west to east, so it would bring this system through, and then we wouldn't have lake effect because there's not that pool of air coming across the lakes, okay? So that's kind of the GFS, so we'll take it with a grain of salt, but it doesn't really look like the model that I'm trending towards right now. The GEM, which does rely, it's kind of NAM-based, it's got some Euro tendencies to it, it's the Canadian model. This brings that system through without the snow, which the GFS shows, and the GEM does bring lake effect in here, but it doesn't dig that trough south. It digs it more off towards the east. It too is more progressive. So as a result, we don't have that north wind. We have more of a northwest wind, which would bring lake effect snow, not really to northwest Indiana, outside of LaPorte County. Okay. So, okay, buddy. So that's the differences in the models. Okay. That's kind of what we're dealing with here is that the model's still all over the board on this. We've got snow in the forecast, but we don't know how much yet. We really don't, all right? So I'm going to zoom in big time now. We're going to show you some potential totals out of this per the models, but none of this is truth. I'm just showing it to you because I personally like to look as well, all right? It's okay to look. So here is what, let's see. So we've got, this is the Canadian model, all right? This is all the way through Tuesday. So we're looking at Sunday night, Monday. Those are going to be the 2 primary days. All right, Canadian model has virtually no snow on us here in the region. They bring most of it, remember, with that drag east, they bring most of it into areas of LaPorte County, a couple inches possible, and then some heavier amounts because it's a northwest flow up into Michigan, all right, where you'd expect. So that's the Canadian, okay? Let's switch on over. I'm going to go to the GFS. Remember, GFS has system snow coming through here, so that brings, you know, a general 1 to 2 inches through with system snow Saturday night into Sunday. Again, I don't know if I like that solution, but that's what we've got right now as of Tuesday. But it still has some snowflakes around, all right? So there's that. So it's not too far off, but it is. And then the Euro is our heavy one right now, okay? This is showing the heavier amounts. I'm going to go back to the 12Z, and you notice Monday into Tuesday, a pretty good quick hit of maybe 2 to 4, and this would be primarily lake effect with some spots that could get a little bit more. This would be a wet snow. I know a lot of people are going to ask what type of snow we're going to have. It would be a wet, heavy snow. So that's what the Euro is saying right now. None of this is true. All right, these, again, we will change back and forth, but it gives us an idea of kind of what we're dealing with and what, as meteorologists, we're looking for the next model run. All right, a lot of people, if you know, a lot of these, again, and I don't want to rip anyone, but it's out there, and I'm trying to protect my role because people come to us because they see something on, you know, crazy apocalyptic website of weather. They see something on that and say, well, you guys were saying 12 inches of snow. It's like, no, I wasn't saying that. That guy was, right? Because they're posting model output, and this is all model output. And so as a meteorologist, my job is to see this stuff and to know what I'm looking for on the next model run, all right? Folks that don't know what they're doing just look at a model run. They say, oh, look at this, and they click and post, and that's it, all right? So those are the differences you're seeing online. I just want to make that very clear. That these are just model runs, all right? And as a meteorologist, what I am going to look for the next couple model runs is how deep does that low and that trough dig, all right? If it digs further to south and if the Euro keeps it up, we'll have a good hit of lake effect snow here around the region, all right? Not apocalyptic, but we'll have some. If that low is more progressive and just heads west to east, this is going to be a big nothing burger, all right? Most of the snow is going to drag through. We'll have some snow showers. But the bulk of the lake snow, and it probably wouldn't be a ton, would be up in Michigan. All right, so those are the 2 things that I'm looking for here. We get a run tomorrow morning, the 0Z, and then we'll have fresh data with the 12Z tomorrow. which is early afternoon. All right, those are the time frames that we look for. Okay, so that's what I've got for you tonight. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. Otherwise, I won't waste your time. We'll get you on your way here tonight. And we'll keep you updated through the week. I can't promise one tomorrow, depending on bat time, but we'll keep you updated throughout the week. We've got our updates on regionweather.com. We're on the radio as well, XRock 103.9, Indiana 105.5, and Z107.1, and obviously on our Facebook and YouTube channels. We keep you updated, all right? So let's get to your questions. We'll answer some of those, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's see. Tom says, good evening from Munster. Reassure me snow stays east of me. Tom, you're rooting for the GEM, the Canadian model, or the GFS at this point, all right? Because you would get snow in your neck of the woods if the Euro is true. If we have that north wind, that wind is key across the lake. And these first couple lake effect events they can always be really good ones because you get so much instability because that water's still warm. And if you get cold air above, remember the snow bands, a lot of the heaviness of them, if you're going to get a really powerful squall, right? It has a lot to do with the temperature difference between the water and what it is up in the air, essentially, all right, just to keep things simple. And because of that, we've got a big difference because we've got warm water still, and we've got really cold air coming in. It's not as cold as it would be in January, but it's cold for this time of year. And this is almost like a late December-like air mass that's coming in. Those are your best setups for mega bands of snow, as long as you have available moisture and lift. But boy, I mean, the chances there, these first couple lake effect events that we get now through like early or mid-December, you can really get some powerful lines of snow, basically, or snow squalls, bands of snow coming off the lake. So we'll see. Let's see, Cindy, great question, Cindy. Cindy says, we still have a lot of leaves on the trees, assuming it'll be heavy snow. Cindy, if we get enough snow, yeah, that is going to be an issue. I know we're still dealing with a lot of foliage. This has been an issue the last couple of years with the Halloween snows that we've had over the last 5 years. Not every year, but a couple of years we had snow. It's always an issue when we still have the leaves on the trees. We'll lose some some foliage here over the next couple of days and on through the weekend as well with these cold nights. But overall, that's certainly going to be an issue that we'll have to keep an eye on. As of right now, I'm not seeing anything that's truly heavy enough to do that kind of damage with it, especially with the wind. It'll be blowing, so a lot of that snow, yeah, it'll stick, but some of it's going to blow off versus just a heavy settling snow where there's not a lot of wind. But it'll be something we have to watch. Yeah, great point to that for sure. Thanks, Linda. Linda says, I love kids and cats. Well, you came to the right place for sure. I appreciate that. All right. Let's see. Melissa, thank you for always giving a realistic outlook. Yes, absolutely. Melissa, that's what we're here for. I'm glad you appreciate that. Yeah, that's what I'm here for, is to put out the fires in terms of what you're seeing on social. Yeah, still unknown, JP. Still too early to tell. So our big question right now is whether this system, whether the low and the trough digs further south and keeps that lake snow going for like 36 hours. And if that does, like the Euro is saying, it would be more of a north wind for a little bit. And that north wind would bring a snow band into Lake, Porter, LaPorte counties, even all the way down to like the Lafayette region. All right. I mean, it's going to be a pretty powerful band. And the wind's going to be howling as well. That has a lot to do with it. But that trajectory is going to be key because most of this is going to be lake effect. And then we still have the outlier, which is the GFS, which brings like a system snow through here, like a clipper. It brings snow in here Saturday night and a Sunday, and then not much lake effect. And so still a lot of discrepancy on the models, but you know, we're getting a good idea of kind of what kind of totals we could be dealing with this. But yeah, too certainly to tell on that. Maxwell might get a flash of lightning. Yeah, for sure, Maxwell. You know, that system coming through on Friday's got a little punch to it. We may get some lightning with that Sunday into Monday system, not just with some of the snow squalls that develop out over the lake if we do get that, but that system's got a little punch to it as well. So we'll see what happens for sure. Yeah, JD, that's awesome. Sounds like the baby likes the Euro model. Yep, baby knows what he's doing. That's great. Allison, yeah, this is for Monday. Yeah, you can go back and rewatch too. I'm going to wrap this up here. We'll post it on our YouTube and Facebook. You just scroll back towards the beginning. And as always, we didn't go through our sponsors, but we want to thank all our sponsors on there too. This is their free broadcast, but I appreciate all them. They keep us running, so that's good stuff. Support them if you can. All right, I think that's it. All right, we'll keep you updated throughout the week, so we're not going anywhere, but just want to kind of get that out there before you start seeing some crazy images that say click here on Facebook and YouTube and all that stuff. Okay, so stay away from that stuff. Danger. All right. So we'll talk to you soon. We'll keep you updated throughout the week. And next thing up that we have, we'll obviously have a forecast for you in the morning, but we'll have fresh radio hits in the morning too, with some discussion over on our radio station or Adams radio stations. Okay. All right. You guys have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.